Nicole Bernard, Rest and Recovery Wednesday.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm tired. Arlo had his first baseball game last night, and it just was longer than I thought, but it was so much fun.
Yes, you did have your son's first baseball game last night. Yeah, exactly. Well, so here's I got something for you this morning. Then you can take some time to drink your coffee. Well, we invite Paul Ryken to the stage.
Hello.
Paul Ryken, our first guest this morning. Mornings on the lab while we are allowing Keith and Nicole to wake up. Nicole, like yourself, I had a later night than expected and might have grabbed a few extra Z's on the couch this morning when I got up. But then I knew Paul was waiting for us in, I think, Italy, Nicole. I'm like, all right.
Absolutely.
I guess I'll get my ass off the couch and go meet Paul in the green room. So that's what I did. So, Paul, you joined us. You connected with Nicole in a Facebook group, I believe.
Absolutely, yep.
And you are, Nicole, did you tell me correctly? Is he traveling like the world? Did you say he's traveling the world with his wife in a suitcase?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time we connected, he was in Germany, and then I saw pictures in France, and now I hear Italy. So, yes.
Yes, so I saw pictures too. Yes, she was carrying the suitcase around, and Paul's in the suitcase. I swear that's how I read the message this morning. So if you're just tuning in this morning, a few minutes into the show, no, we do not have a murderer on the show. No, that was yesterday's show with Paul, with Joseph Malone. Not a murderer. Sorry, Joseph. No. A soldier. Nicole, I'm off the rails already, man. Sorry, let's back this up. Oops. Anyways, Paul's traveling around the planet in a suitcase, kidding, with his wife, and they are in Italy right now. And Nicole and Paul met on Facebook, and then somehow along the way, you guys started chatting, and Nicole, he's now on our show.
Yep. Because I want to hear all about it.
Yes. What's going on, Paul?
Well, what is there to tell? I live on the road. I don't even have a suitcase. It's a backpack. It's a backpack. We like to put it on our back. We're almost like a turtle.
It's getting worse.
It's getting worse. It's getting much worse. And my wife is also like a turtle. She's also got her own backpack. And between the two of us, absolutely, we've been living on the road for nearly 8 years now, without a house, without a lot of possessions, just tripping around.
That's so cool.
I need to digest that. Did you say you've been living on the road for 8 years now, like essentially out of a backpack? No very little possessions. Probably your possessions are all in a backpack.
Absolutely. We can pretty much count all the possessions we own in the backpack. So it's kind of weird because obviously if we ever lost the backpack, it's like, that's our life.
No kidding.
I mean, what do you do? Like sell a kidney at that point? That's all you. That's what you have.
Yeah.
I mean, the possessions are important and they help you get through life. But at the end of the day, you can always buy something, to replace it. If you lost your backpack or it got stolen or whatever. Yeah, for the number of shirts and pants and shoes that I've got in it, you just go down the road and buy another pair. It's not a biggie.
So it's an interesting question, Nicole. Is that largely how you live then, Paul? Which is, do you do laundry on the road, or do you wear your underwear inside, outside for a few months, then you throw them out and you go buy a new pair?
No, who is that? It's in that book, isn't it? The Jack Reacher book, or one of those ones, I think, where he does that. He goes and he's got his toothbrush, and he just buys a new pair of underwear.
Underwear is the biggest scam in the world, man. Somebody invented them years ago, like, you got to change them every single day. No, actually, just because you're the maker of underwear, that's why you're telling me to change them every day.
Yeah, and isn't it funny that society teaches you to do things in a certain way, and it's all marketing. It's all consumerism. It's all basically do this because you're gonna spend money, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, and I like it more, Paul, because you've clearly gone against society. No, we're not going to live in a house. We're not going to live in an apartment, Nicole. We are going to pack up our backpack and go live on the road for 8 years.
Yeah, and we're not going to stop. We're not going to stop.
I was about to say, is that the plan, just to keep going?
Yeah, I guess so. Look, it obviously costs money to live on the road, but it is actually cheaper to live on the road than to own a house and have a mortgage and insurance and rates and stress and everything. So it's actually we've worked it out dollar for dollar. It's much cheaper to actually live traveling on the road. So why would we stop?
Right.
What about the feeling of homelessness, or is home where you and your wife are, and you've redefined what a home is for you two?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because most people, again, societal requirements, you've got your possessions in your house and your car and everything, and you're joined to that. That's you want to be able to have those things. But once you actually work out that you don't need them, you don't have to worry about them. Our home is basically where we are. Our home is where our friends are, where we're going to meet them. That's the reason why we're in Italy at the moment, is that we've got a couple of sets of couples that we've met along the way over the years, and we're catching up with them. So we go and meet people along the way. So possessions don't matter anymore. A house doesn't matter anymore. A good bed, a good shower, someone to do the laundry of my underwear once a week. That's pretty much it.
Well, I thought you said good beard, but you said good bed. But you also have a good beard.
Thank you.
I thought I heard beer. I was like, yeah, beer.
Well, of course, Nicole heard beer because Nicole's a runner. I think she runs for her beer. So,
oh yeah, I do too. Don't worry. Don't worry.
That's the only reason to run. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm like you, Nicole.
Do you have children, Paul?
I've got grandchildren.
Oh, exceptional. Okay, so how do I'm answering my own question as I'm asking you, because I'm thinking, Nicole, back when I grew up, you had to send a letter to grandma and grandpa, but in actuality, they're just a FaceTime away. I bet you FaceTime and video communication has just broke down every barrier in your world, and your life is actually quite, quote unquote, normal.
It's normal for us. It may not be normal for the grandchildren to know that Oma and Upa are not there, but it's normal for us.
Are there some moments that you and what's your wife's name, Paul?
Sandra.
Are there some moments where you and Sandra have an emotional moment with yourselves, wishing that you were maybe physically at a grandchild's birthday or at a certain moment in time? I know it's kind of a tough question first thing in the morning, but I have to imagine those moments come up.
That's one of the downsides of our lifestyle. We were back in New Zealand for 4 months last year because we had my father's 90th birthday, and then we had one of the grandchildren's 4th birthday, sort of in that 4-month period. And my son had a birthday as well, a major birthday. So we spent a couple of months back in New Zealand because we had these birthdays, but we couldn't stay there forever. And we were tripping around as well. We didn't stay anywhere in particular. We were just in New Zealand. So yes, absolutely. The concept of missing out on some important dates are important in terms of being able to be there for them. But again, the grandchildren are 1 and 4. Are they going to know, or are they going to miss us? Yes, they are a little bit as they're growing up now. But maybe we'll be back in 5 years, 10 years time and settle down. Who knows? I don't know what the plan is yet. I don't know what I'm doing next month.
Oh, so is that how you and Sandra plan? How do you plan? How do you know where you're going next week or next month? Or I know people like Nicole and myself who are somewhat neurotic. We're like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. I kind of know what's going on. Do you live through a plan, an idea of more list and less list? Talk to us about how you plan your days and weeks ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is the fact that we stay in one continent for about a year. So because obviously from a financial point of view and from a carbon point of view, we don't want to be flying all over the place. We don't want to be tripping back to New Zealand and back up here to Europe. So we're in Europe for the whole of 2024. And then we have to work out things like visas, because I'm a Kiwi. My wife is German by birth. So that tells me that I've got to do 90 days in the Schengen area in Europe, and then I've got to get out and then I'll come back in again. So that dictates where we are. And then after that, it's like, what do we want to do? I want to see these friends. I want to catch up with this person. I want to go to this travel conference. I want to go and do this marathon. It just depends on what we want to do. But the world's our oyster, and we've designed it that way. This is our life. It doesn't suit everybody, but we've designed it this way.
I love that. That's so cool. And what do you guys work on the road? What do you guys, like, how do you support your traveling?
how do we make money on this road?
Yeah.
It's we were very fortunate. We spent before we went on the road 8 years ago, we spent 10 years in Sydney in corporate roles. We were very lucky. We had a house in Sydney. The corporate roles were great for us. And so we sold the house, got rid of the kids, quit the jobs, have some savings, have some investments. And then as well as those investments, and we have a diverse number of sort of ways of making money through that, we also have a travel blog and a lifestyle blog as well. So we write about what we do, encouraging people to stop spending money on possessions and material things and actually spend money on experiences.
That's awesome, man. That's really awesome. Does the travel blog help fund part of your experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're able to go to different countries, and again, initially, we're not going to go to Rome, or we're not going to go to these big places that everybody writes about, and all the YouTubers go there and talk about the top 10 things. We go to the very small places that nobody knows about, and encourage people to travel to lesser known, lesser tourist destinations and write about them. And we get funded for that by the tourism board to be able to go and do this, to encourages people to spread out and not just go to the major tourism sites and take photos and
Paul, so this is going to be an obvious question for you, but I don't want an obvious answer. Okay. What's the biggest downfall of living on the road and out of a backpack like every single day? And what I'm saying is not the obvious one, which is, well, I miss my grandchildren, or, it's uprooting often or always on the go. Like, I'm a big fan of digging further, a little further than what the obvious is, a little moment even behind the moment. So, what really is the biggest challenge? Somebody's listening right now going, geez, I would like to go live on the road for 8 years, or go live on a cruise ship, or is it taxes? Is it finances? What's the biggest challenge, Paul? The number one thing that you and Sandra will talk about over and over, is it your relationship? Like, it's the one thing that really...
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because we're together 24/7, apart from when I go for a run in the morning. So you've got to have a really good relationship, and your values have got to be aligned. And our values over the years have got even better in terms of we won't compromise on certain things. What's the thing I'm missing the most? I laugh about this sometimes. It's the 6-figure salary I used to have in corporate life. That's one of the big things that's not so much a downside. You get used to it, but we don't spend as much money as we used to. We're a little bit more cautious about where we spend our money, but we don't have to make as much money as we used to either. So it's a balancing act for that. We just love our life. This is purposeful living, and if you can do that, and again, we are privileged to be able to do what we do. Not everybody has the privilege and the time and work to be able to have done what we've done. So we know that we are privileged doing what we do, but we don't squander that either.
I love it. I wrote that quote down on the screen here. We just love our life.
Yeah.
Nicole, you don't hear that from people often saying publicly.
Yeah.
Right? I think people often, we say it, we go through the routines, we drive our kids to the rink, to the baseball places. And I'm not suggesting none of that is bad, but to hear somebody come up and say, yeah, I've been living on the road for 8 years out of a backpack with my wife. We love our life. Like, it's clear that you're living a life with extreme purpose. That has intention. Isn't that true, Nicole? Right? Like, with intention. And that takes a lot of courage, because I know there's a lot of people that would like to do what you're doing, but just will not take that step, right? Leaving the grandchildren or living on a road, or I'll say it, spending 24/7, 365 with the partner, like nonstop. Like, that in itself is a accomplishment.
A lot of it is fear. A lot of it is societal, where people will say, I have to have my job, and I have to keep my job till I'm 60, and then I'll go and retire, and then I'll go and travel. But a lot of it is the fear of, what happens if I don't do very well, or what happens if we don't work, something doesn't work out. We actually had a 3-year plan. So when we started, we said, we'll try this out for 3 years and see how we go. And if we have to, we can go back to work. It's like, it's no biggie. We're not failing. But once we got to the 3 years, it's like, that was easy. And we just carried on.
Yeah. What y'all do during the pandemic?
We returned to New Zealand. Our first grandchild was born in 2020, and we just house sat. We looked after animals. We actually bought a property, and then we're on a permaculture property, and we did that up. That's one of our investments, is that we've got a little property in New Zealand that's got a tiny house on it, and that's we rented out full time. So we got that ready. We actually lived in a caravan on the property for a couple of months, and then we went away and tripping around New Zealand. I mean, New Zealand's it's a small place, but there's lots to do there. So we just meandered around all over New Zealand.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. Yeah, we perform quite well in New Zealand. I got a following in New Zealand.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I had Mike Hancock on the show a few weeks back, and Mike is like, he's been pumping out the old tires for Live in the Lab and Keith and Nicole and all the stuff. Keith and Di are trending in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Really? Oh.
We're teaching all the dads in Afghanistan. Speaking of Afghanistan, Paul, would you and Sandra be making your way to Afghanistan?
We're going to Asia in December. I'm not too sure if we'd go up to Africa. I'd certainly go there. Absolutely. There's no question. I mean, Mongolia, Afghanistan, places we haven't been yet. I mean, we've been 46 countries in the last 8 years.
Wow.
There are so many that we haven't been to.
Wow.
And we're not necessarily counting them, but it's like we wanted to be able to go see some of these places. Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Afghanistan would be on the list. Yeah, well, I'm hesitating because I'm also conscious of the regime there and the safety and everything else.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Paul, if you make it to Afghanistan, I'll send you a flag, the Live in the Lab, the Mornings in the Lab flag. You can stake them in the ground in Afghanistan for Keith and Di and Nicole, and you can spread the love. Paul Ryken, we are coming up to the end of our segment together. Now, listen, I'm going to invite you to stick around for the whole show if you like. We would like to have a big global conversation. I got an accountability post coming. We like to start the morning around this time to give people something to think about. Give them something provocative to maybe think about, yeah, all right. So, and then we got Matt Bigger showing up here at the bottom of the hour. Matt's going to jump in to wrap the show up. We got a creator spotlight coming up today. And I love the creator spotlight, Nicole, because nobody knows when we do them, right? Yesterday, Paul Rapp, right? So I love doing them. And then we make it at the end of the show, and then we write the post, and then we send it out, and then I wait. And I wait for somebody to go, oh my God, we were highlighted in the creator spotlight with Keith and Nicole. And Nicole, I laugh, right? Because I have no idea you're sitting in a closet and I'm sitting in a corner of my basement. And I think we're like these big superstars here making this big, massive show up on Mars. Well, we are. But yeah, you're in a closet. I'm in a corner over here. And people are like, oh yeah, Keith and Nicole are shouting us out. We are shouting you out. So, Paul, do you want to stick around for a few moments with us? Or can you stick around for a while?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Let's do it. We'll keep in the conversation and we'll do that. So let's flip I'm looking at the script here. Go. Okay. So yes. So here's what we're going to do, Nation. Nicole needs a coffee. Listen, I've been working with Nicole long. She needs it exactly. So we're going to do a less than a minute break. Nicole's going to get your coffee. You're all tuning in. I see the Nation watching this morning. Good morning, Nation. You guys go get your coffee. We're back in less than a minute. Paul, you're in Italy. Go get yourself a beer or a Coke or a rum or whatever you drink. And we'll see you all back in less than a minute. All right, you're back with Keith, Nicole, and Paul Ryken, guest host joining us from Italy today. The guy's traveling around the world with his wife for 8 years, and they are not living in backpacks. They're just carrying backpacks around. I listen. If you joined the beginning of the show, I might have miscommunicated the fact that I thought that Paul was traveling around in a suitcase with his wife carrying around the suitcase, but that's not the case. So if you tuned in and you heard that incorrect, then that's wrong. No. They're traveling around 8 years. They got a backpack on their pack and they're just traveling the world. So we are going to shift our attention like we always do around this time every morning. Wow, we're running a few minutes late. I'm trying to get better at this whole thing. We are going to shift our attention to this right here, which is this idea, Nicole, and you are the purpose for this morning.
Oh, yay. I mean, I hope it's good. I don't know.
Oh, did I lose you guys? No, I didn't lose you. There you are. Did I lose you?
I can hear you.
Maybe I lost you. There you are. Good. So you were the reason for this, Nicole, because of your weekend last weekend. I know that you have been on a mission to get your posting done on LinkedIn, be very active on LinkedIn and be, and just be on your ball. And I know that you had an important weekend with your family. And I know those emotions were like, oh my God, I got this to do, but I got this to do. And you're pulled. Like I pulled my peanut butter.
Yeah,
and you made the decision to say, no, I'm going to go spend time with my family. That's more important to me than posting and doing my social media stuff. And then I suspect you probably beat yourself up for a little bit over the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit on Sunday when I was like, damn it.
Right? And then you wrote an awesome post, which was, no, you know what? I'm just going to start again. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, that's the message that I think we, need to live with. Paul, I'm sure you can wrap your head around this because you and your wife do it all the time, which is the permission to just start over again. Right. So if you're on a streak, if you're trying to do something, you're like, oh yeah, I'm streaking or I'm trying to build a new habit and you have an off day and you maybe don't succeed at it. I guess really the message here is don't beat yourself up.
Yeah. Right? Or even does it really matter? Does it really matter at all? It's like no one else cares. Just start again and just carry on. Yeah.
It's funny, right? Because nobody else does care, right? I think for me though, if I can offer up some of my own vulnerability is I just wrestle with, and maybe Nicole, this is something I keep talking about with you guys, so I can live within what I'm saying. But life isn't about maintaining perfection. Maybe, Nicole, I need to come on the air with a spoon and my peanut butter jar, and maybe you need to encourage me to open it, and maybe you need to encourage me to eat it, and then maybe you need to encourage me to teach me the next day to start again. And I'm being serious, actually. Maybe that'll help me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Totally.
Paul, I haven't been eating peanut butter since November because I have a problem with it. So Nicole's been eating my share of peanut butter for me. So
it's true. It's bad.
Oh, that's not nice. Peanut butter is important.
Protein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know. I'm all for it. I'm sorry. Keith, I am so sorry that you haven't eaten your peanut butter since November.
It's actually a theme on the show. Nicole, I just want Adam's Peanut Butter to sponsor me. So the goal here is, Paul and Nicole, that one day Adam's going to hear me talking about, okay, we know that we can get Billis to open the jar. We got viral content coming here from Adam's Peanut Butter. So the reality is, nation, you're not starting from scratch. If you have to begin again, you are starting from experience. So there's our message. So there's our message this morning, which is you're not starting from scratch. You have to start over again. So Nicole and Paul, if I have to have the peanut butter, I have great experience of knowing how the jar opens, how to put the hand in with the spoon, how to open just enough peanut butter. I watch enough of Nicole's videos where she takes her chocolate chips in her bag. She sprinkled the chocolate chips in the spoon and then she just shovels it in, man.
Oh,
so good.
She's so good at it. I think, Nicole's recently discovered pickleball, Paul. And I'm thinking that she might be thinking about pickleball with peanut butter. Like, I'm thinking there's something there as well. But
pickleball. I've never heard of your pickleball, but that's okay. It's
oh.
Tell me about your pickleball.
You haven't heard of pickleball?
No.
Oh.
What is pickleball?
We're going to have to introduce her, Heartland Jones. Nicole, you go. Yes. You go. You tell him what pickleball is. She's the expert, Paul.
Oh, God, I've played like 3 times. but it's fun. It's like tennis, but with like a wiffle ball almost. And the paddles are bigger than like ping pong paddles. It's like tennis and ping pong kind of like had a baby.
Okay. I need to look it up. Okay.
You do need to look it up. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll tell you what we're going to look up. We are going to look up something that is going to make you guys, I think, laugh. Now, we talk about starting over again, beginning again, and basing things on experience. Before we welcome Matt Bigger into the lab here in a few moments, you guys all Lenny Kravitz fans?
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a fan, but I know who he is.
Yeah. Paul, and Lenny Kravitz fan, not bad. You don't mind?
I'm with Nicole.
You're with Nicole? Yeah. All right. So allow me to.
Not figuratively, of course.
Yes. Okay. So I bring this up. So if you're tuning in and listening right now, you're going to have to go to my feed later and watch this. But I want to show you guys, before we welcome Matt Bigger into the lab, I want to show you an experienced human being. We talk about beginning again. Allow me to show you Lenny Kravitz working out in the gym. Oops, that's not
pickleball. Does he play pickleball?
Well, I don't know about that, but I'll tell you, he certainly has an interesting way of working out. Watch this.
Never been better than it is now.
Wow.
Life ain't never been better than it is now. Go, shorty.
The guy's actually wearing leather pants.
Like
he's wearing leather pants and boots.
Oh. I didn't catch that part. I was just impressed with what he was doing.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's either really good for his core or really bad for his back.
So let me, yes. So look at this, man. It's incredible to me. Look.
Wow.
I've kept the audio muted, but like he's actually wearing leather pants. And look at the big boots he's going to get on in a second here. And I don't know if you know, but Lenny Kravitz is a little man. Like Lenny Kravitz might be like 5'2", 5'4", like maybe 88 pounds. I'm sorry, Lenny, maybe you're 102, but you know, he's not the biggest human being, but look at that. Like he's actually on a decline bench nation, and he's got about 100 and those are foam plates, so 45, probably maybe 75, 95 pounds. And he's doing sit-ups in his leather pants, big ass biker boots, and he's doing sit-ups.
How old is he? And also, have you ever worn leather pants? They're uncomfortable, like even when you're not working out. Actually, Keith, I bet you've worn leather pants based on pictures that you've shared.
Well,
so find one for us and share it tomorrow.
Well, I may have some leather spandex pants.
Oh my god. I was like, I gotta go. I'm out.
I was like, I gotta jump into the backpack here and get the hell out of the lab here this morning. So yeah. So I think Lenny's like 88. No, but truthfully, Lenny's I think 62 years old.
I know. I thought he was a little older. Like
that's what's also exceptional, right? Is the guy is training in leather pants, big boots, and he's doing big old sit-ups. So we like to get people with the attitude of get moving in the morning. Go check out Lenny Kravitz's Instagram page. You have no reason, nation, no reason at all to not get your ass out of bed and get moving today if Lenny Kravitz can do that.
In leather pants.
In leather pants. Yes, exactly.
And Paul, you're a runner, right? Did I hear you say you run some marathons and stuff like that?
Yeah. I run... I have a goal at the moment to run a marathon in every continent before I'm 60. So
that's awesome.
I've only got one more continent to go. So yeah.
Wow.
That's so cool.
Can you just say that again?
I have a goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal to run a marathon on every continent before I'm 60.
How old are you now?
And 58.
What's your last continent?
South America. So next year I'll go to South America and Buenos Aires or I don't know yet. I haven't worked it out.
Wow. That's inspiring. So 58, I want to run a marathon on every continent by the time you're 60. So to Nicole's point, what do you have? So you got 2 years left. Well, what, every year, 2.5 years, year and a half to go. What do you have left to go to accomplish, like to do that? Is it just South Africa?
South America.
South America. Okay. And have you identified the one you're doing out there?
No. I'd like to, as I say, Buenos Aires may be the one I'd do. It's all dependent on like the size of the marathon, the field. You want to have a big enough marathon field where they've got enough services. I'd like to have it close to sea level. I don't really want to be doing like Quito in Ecuador, which is like at 3,000 meters, 1,000 or 9,000 feet. But apart from that, we were just down in Morocco in Africa, and I did the marathon there, in Marrakesh marathon. So there's my African marathon about 4 months ago.
Wow,
that is so cool.
Yeah. We just hit the Boston Marathon here in North America on Monday, Nicole.
Yeah, we did.
That was amazing. That was impressive. Yeah, it was ran from the front. The guy just took off and just stayed at the front the whole time.
Is it me? Is it me, or does it seem like some of these big marathons are becoming even bigger, and we're creating even bigger events and news stories from them? Like the Boston Marathon was a pretty big event here on Monday, and New York Marathon a few months back here. Like, just there seems to be just this immense. I don't know. Nicole, you and I talked about the Barkley Marathon. There just seems to be more of a buzz with running and marathons and ultras these days. Am I wrong? Or maybe just because we're talking about it. I don't know.
No, I think you're right. I mean, I feel like, the Boston's been a big one, so the New York too. But I don't know, the way that the coverage is and like everybody's aware of it and watching it now, I don't think it was always like that.
I think it's exactly right? I don't think anybody or not everybody was watching it as much as we are now, paying attention to it now, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a lot more commercial, a lot more sponsor driven. Obviously the innovations with the shoes, the 2-hour marathon, the women's world records dropping amazingly over the last 12 months or so. Those things have all helped in terms of the media coverage.
Yes.
But it's also the average person realizing that they can now do it. I think that's that whole thing. You can, with a bit of training and a bit of support, the average person can get out there and do it. And that's great.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, how do you pay taxes?
I try not to. How do we pay taxes? I'm a Kiwi, but I'm an Australian tax resident. So in Australia, you the first $18,000 of your taxes are tax free.
Okay.
Sorry, the first $18,000 you earn is tax free.
Okay.
So $36,000 between my wife and I is tax free.
Awesome.
Whatever we earn, tax free. So we don't need to earn much more than that to actually live on the road for a year. So we try not to earn too much more than that to live on the road for a year. Therefore, we don't pay taxes.
Good for you.
That's
so
awesome.
I asked that, Paul, because Nicole, I've been recently in contact with somebody who's interested in joining our show, who lives a life as a complete 100% digital nomad, maybe similar to yourself, Paul. And his angle, I guess that's the word I'm going to use this morning. I know the word angle can be misconstrued so many ways, but his angle is he travels around the world to avoid tax zones, and I guess he uses time and space to move around to, and I don't want to use the word avoid because avoid might be the incorrect term, but he uses time and space to effectively, there is the right word, to minimize. Thank you, Nicole. Yes. He uses time and space to minimize his tax exposure amongst the different jurisdictions. Is that right, Paul? Where you live somewhere for a certain period of time, you get out for a certain period, or does that, or am I maybe not understanding his situation correctly?
If I was you, I'd dig it when you have him on the show. Dig a little deeper, because that doesn't sound quite right. You have to be a tax resident somewhere,
yes.
and I'm sorry for the Americans on the show, because you're sort of screwed a little bit with wherever you are. Oh yeah, you are. Yes, the Americans on the show, you're sort of screwed wherever you are, because you always have to pay your taxes, even if you live overseas and all the rest of it. That's file your taxes. Tax resident, we've all got to pay taxes somewhere, but so you've got to work out where is the place where I can get the minimum. And as I say, Australia for us was it. We lived in Australia for 10 years, so we are Australian tax residents there, and we get the value out of that. So I guess he's probably trying to do the same thing. Where does he go to be a tax resident, a primary tax resident? And then there's all sorts of rules: 183 days, domicile, where are your possessions, and your investments, etc.
Interesting. Yeah. So another curious question I would have is, how do you manage currency? Are you always living off credit card because that's easy, and then you just pay in whatever currency, or are you always converting cash? Like, we live in a digital world now, so I have to assume that friction that maybe my parents or Nicole's parents grew up with is no longer there. You just got to travel around, use your plastic, and then convert on the back end. Like, it's really easy, isn't it, Paul?
It is a lot easier than the old days of the high cost of a transaction fee, a foreign transaction fee. Yeah, we've got again, you guys have got your Chase cards and some good credit cards in the States. We have a credit card where we don't earn points or air points or anything like that, but we get the value that we get out of our credit card is that we pay it off every month. Absolutely, there's no concept of interest charges or anything like that, but we don't get charged a transaction fee. So there's so it's in Italy it's euros, so therefore we pay by euros. It's an Australian credit card, and we just pay back the Australian dollars. That's as simple as that. So not a problem there. And when we take money out, because we obviously need cash occasionally.
Yes.
We're lucky enough to have a European bank account, so we withdraw euros from that when we need to take cash out.
How many friends have you and Sandra inspired to do the same thing that you guys have done over the 8 years? Because I got to think that somebody along the way has said, "Oh, so hey, honey, look what Paul and Sandra are doing. Why don't we do this?" Has that happened? Have they said, "Hey, we're joining you guys on the road because you've inspired us to do this"?
I guess let's bring it closer to home. Sandra's brother lives in Australia now in a camper van, so he travels. He's exactly like us. My sister, for the last couple of years, has done exactly the same thing. Gone overseas and traveled extensively overseas because of us, in the same sort of mode. So that's close to home. Our siblings, friends. Most of our friends are sort of our age or just below. Have got kids. Can't sort of get rid of the kids yet. Can't still got the jobs, etc. So I'm hoping that we've inspired strangers to do what we're doing, and that's part of what our lifestyle blog and our travel blog does. It inspires people. But yeah, I don't think any other close friends have actually gone and done what we do. Only through circumstance, not through a lack of desire.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, what is your travel blog that everybody could check out?
Just type it in there. Minimalist Journeys. Minimalistjourneys.com.
Okay.
That's what we're all about.
Awesome.
I'm just putting that in there right now so everybody can find us. Isn't that the case though, right? Because if you're just traveling, Nation, listen, it's first thing in the morning. If I didn't spell it correctly, it's minimalist. So I listen. I didn't make the thumbnails last night, Nicole. You can change it.
It'll be in the show notes.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So it's minimalistjourneys.com. If you're looking at the screen, you can figure out how to spell it yourself, because I was having some problems with doing the spelling this morning. Matt Bigger's joining us here in a couple minutes. He just popped in and say, I'll be joining you guys shortly. I am going to shine the light on the creator spotlight in a couple moments as well, Nicole. But Minimalist Journeys is how you will find Paul Ryken, Sandra Ryken, and their travels around the world. They have been living in a backpack for 8 years, and he's been sharing his story with us this morning. So if you are... Paul's like, no, I haven't been living. Yes, Paul, as far as I'm listen, this is my show and Nicole's show. If I think you're living in a backpack, you're living in a backpack. And that's going to be my prerogative to share with the world. All right? So just accept it. You agreed to be on the show.
Keith, I corrected your spelling. You were really close, but now there it is.
Thank you. Awesome. Right. So we don't know if Nicole spelled this with American spelling or Canadian spelling, but we know that it is minimalistjourneys.com is how you can find Paul Ryken. We like to create entertaining and informing content, not the boring stuff you find in every other podcast out there. Nope.
We show leather pants.
We show leather pants. And if you're lucky, you might see Keith in leather pants doing a workout like Lenny Kravitz on a decline and boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
So true. So true. The show's gone off the rails here again. We started again. We started off the rails and we're off the rails again. It's all good. You know what the good thing is, Nicole, is the first time we did this show, nobody showed up.
Yeah.
And what's awesome,
I think
Paul,
we're headed towards that again.
yes,
It's the leather pants.
It's the leather pants. Yes. But I will tell you, Paul, that as Keith and Nicole have been showing up every single day over the last few weeks, people just keep showing up because I think they're like, these folks won't leave. No, we're not leaving. So if you like waking up with these two characters, Keith and Nicole, well, we're going to be here again tomorrow. That's what we do. That's
Sorry.
what we do. Hey, Paul, I have an awesome idea for you, man. So what are you, 9 hours ahead of us? What time is it?
Okay. It's about that, 3 o'clock.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I know that we make great content to put people to sleep at night. So I had a clip yesterday. Oh, let me show you something. So to those of you that may have missed this yesterday, allow me to show this to y'all while we're waiting for Matt Bigger to check in here. But check this out, Paul. Oh, I got the best idea for you. So I want to invite you to take me to bed with you. Yeah, it's a true story. There's a hook. There's some nice music. So what I'm thinking, the best way you can end your day today is you can crawl up into the sack. Yeah, that's the bed. Just for all you thinking in the gutter, you're all just, nation, you got to get out of the gutter, man. So crawl into bed next to your partner. You say to them, you know what, honey? You know what, partner? And they're going to go, yes, honey. Yes, partner. And you might want to say to them, you know what? We're not going to put on late night television. No, we're not going to put any of that late night stuff on our phones. No, we're going to open up the old YouTuber. Yeah, you know, that little platform that sits on your phone, sits on every device on the planet. And you're going to go into Keith in the Lab. And you're going to look at all these wonderful shows with all these incredible human beings that have come through the lab. And you're going to select one. And I might invite you to check out the one that pops up right in front of you. That says, Stuck in a Hot Tub with Dana Carvey. Yeah, it'll make you laugh. It'll keep you entertained. And by the time it gets a little bit boring, at the last 57, 58, 59 minute mark, you go to sleep. Because we are here to entertain and inform you. So I invite you to introduce a new routine to your life and take the chief Batfleet to bed and close your day off with me. There you go, Paul. So, I love your enthusiasm. So listen, I'm just gonna say this right now to you. If Sandra's like, Paul, I would like to add somebody else to our bedtime routine, I would love for you to recommend you add my name to the list. All right, just say, hey, you go bring Keith into the room, put him on the tube, and we'll cuddle up watching Mr. Billis.
Okay.
Right, Bigger? I'm sure that's the conversation you have with your wife every evening. You're like, oh, we got to put on Live in the Lab with Keith Billis so we can tune into Mr. Billis's antics in the evening. Matt Bigger's joining us from Calgary. Sorry that you joined us from Calgary, Matt.
Sorry that I'm late.
Oh, so listen, I know that because you guys are in the different time zones. So I expected that you'd be a few minutes late today. It's just, you had to get over the mountains. You had to get the internet over here. And
6:45 a.m., brother. I never book stuff this early.
Nicole, would you like to address Matt Bigger with that?
No.
She's like, no, actually, I get up earlier than you, Matt.
Well, I get up at 5:30, so I should have been ready.
So Matt Bigger joins us here this morning. We got Paul Ryken joining us from Italy. We got Nicole Bernard from Oregon, Keith from Manitoba, Matt's in Calgary. This is exactly, nation, the kind of show that I'm envisioning bringing together. A massive global conversation with humans just having great chat in the morning to help you guys start your day. So Matt joins us from, like I said, Calgary, and Matt knows I'm a Winnipeg Jet fan. So, I don't think we're going to have enough time to get into that today with Matt. So Matt has a mission in life, and he is all about, as I'm trying to find my notes here, he is all about building trust. Aren't you, Matt?
Yeah, that's a pretty short way to say it. I like it. It's concise.
You are building trust with engaging micro courses. You sit down with humans and you go, hey, listen, I'm going to help you sustainable revenue growth for your coaches, your consultants, and subject matter experts. Matt Bigger is the trust builder with his micro course program. Did I introduce that correctly for you, my friend?
Feels pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Give us a few more about what you do. What moves the needle in your world? And somebody tuning in right now is like, who's this Matt Bigger guy? How can Matt help me move the needle in my life?
Oh man, where to start? I'll make a really short story.
Yes, please do.
So, former YouTuber, and one of the things I realized, I started getting into. I'm coming in like halfway into this story, so I'm not going through the whole thing to make this concise since I was late. I basically started my YouTube channel because I wanted to stop being a hypocrite. I was a videographer. I was hiding behind my own camera, and I was afraid of judgment. So I'd be telling everyone else, you got to make videos to grow your business.
Oh.
And so it felt really crappy. And eventually I just got to a point where I was just so frustrated with myself that I needed to lead by example. And so I started a YouTube channel, and I explored a lot of different topics, and I went all over the place, and I made an absolute mess of my channel. And so I got into consulting to show other people a better way of doing it, because I found that, you know, if we get our subject matter scattered, then it confuses the algorithm, and it's kind of hard to build a channel, right? And so this is where I sort of discovered this subject matter expertise business model based on a core topic that you're super focused on. And that actually works really well for YouTube. So I also noticed that the clients that I was doing consulting with were compartmentalizing me into like one aspect of their business.
Yeah.
Right. So they didn't think of me as someone who could help them with all the other stuff that I was watching them. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to swear on here. But
100%.
All right.
He does it all the time.
Watching them screw up all the other shit in their business.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just sitting here, and it's affecting all the work we're doing in their YouTube channel. And I found that most people just weren't ready for the platform, to be honest. And so I made another pivot in my business. And this is probably the seventh time I've done this. I moved into business coaching because I wanted to be able to support the entire human and be that person for them, like a co-pilot in their business, and helping them make decisions, being a sounding board, guiding them through the process. But it was reconnecting back to my career where I was at TELUS Mobility. For Canadians would know what that is. It's a telecom in Canada. And, you know, they sell cell phones. My job was to teach people how to use them. I did that for 6 years, and I sat across the desk from people aged 60 to 80 years old, and I taught them how to use their phones, which sounds trivial. It taught me simplicity and patience. You can put it that way, because it was literally like, how do I text my grandkids? Kind of like training, right? But I learned a lot about adult learning principles. I started hosting workshops, facilitating events. I started training all the sales reps in my city about how to do this client experience enhancing, service for people, but it wasn't exactly something that they wanted to do a lot of the time. So that's why I ended up in the videography business. That's why I started a YouTube channel, and it's why I became a business coach. And the reason why I started course creation was because I love teaching, and I had to reconnect to that former career. And when I was facilitating and doing that training, and bring that with me into the model of what I was doing. And that's what brought out like this unwavering passion and excitement for the work that I'm doing now.
That's fantastic, Matt Bigger. We will have you back, because I definitely want to get into a deeper conversation around the old YouTube channel, the content. And, you know, obviously I'm building a channel here with on the Bapple network, and we're learning away, we're growing away. And you know, it's interesting because one of the things that we kind of ranted about yesterday was we're always so focused on blaming everybody else. Oh, it's the algorithm. Oh, it's somebody else's problem. No, actually put some good content out. Put some good content out. Somebody might like it, and they might watch it again. Oh, and they might watch it again. Oh, and they might watch it again. There you go. There's my tip for the day. Hey, so it is time for the Creator Spotlight. And I usually would have done this about 9 minutes ago, but Matt was on Mountain Standard Time. So Matt, because I asked Matt to give me somebody for the list today, I'm like, all right, we're going to wait for Matt to show, because Matt made the nomination. And this is a highlight of Keith and Nicole's morning, because we like to make the announcement. Nobody knows it's coming. And then we create content, and then we distribute it across the internet. And this person wakes up like, oh my God, Keith and Nicole talked about me this morning. Yes, we did. So this morning, Matt Bigger, you have decided to nominate
David Young this morning, our Creator Spotlight. Nicole, I need to get some clapping applauses for us, actually.
Yeah, you had it one time, didn't you?
Ooh, yes, I do actually. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to
Can we do confetti on the screen? Does that work?
Absolutely can. Yes. So
That would
actually,
be fun.
I know what I can do. I can give you a job to do along the way here, and I can get you confetti, and I can get you buttons, and I can get you doing. That's awesome. So here we go. We have David Young. He's going to grow your content engagement in 30 days. But Matt, why did you nominate David Young?
Passionate entrepreneur, former employee, just kind of getting started with his business. He's gotten some initial traction very quickly. It's uncommon to see this kind of clarity and focus with someone's profile this early in business. And so David is definitely someone that I would consider to be a servant leader. He is out there to support and help other humans in improving their messaging. And some of his strengths that I've noticed that, I like, that I definitely don't have, very data analytical driven, systems and process orientated. So I think that what he's doing is uniquely positioned to leverage his strengths in a way that he can really support other people. So that's why I wanted to highlight him.
Matt, that's exceptional. And I really like how you articulated that. And when you told me last night, you said, hey, Keith, we need to highlight. And Nicole, so Dave's like, can I nominate a few people? He's like, 2. I'm like, no, just 1. It's like, So we're going to get Matt back at an earlier time so we can nominate the next person. But Matt, what jumped out at me, Matt, when you suggested David, was that when I scrolled to the bottom of his about, he's like, so why should you trust me? And I love this part, right? Because straight up, why should you trust me? Over the last 8.5 months, and I think, Matt, this is what alludes to this fact, he's got traction so fast. Yeah. Over the last 8.5 months, David has created a content creation and engagement system that led to 126% increase in impressions. Paul Ryken, that's like you're traveling around the world, Matt. 300% increase in reactions, a 767% increase in comments, and a 156% increase in engagement rate. And as a result, David has added 1,080 followers, 620 connections, a 2,369% increase in search appearance, and almost a 5,000% increase in profile views in the previous 90 days. So David Young, whatever you're doing, my friend, you're doing it right. If you out there, nation, are looking to grow your content engagement in 30 days, not 31, not 45, not 29, but 30 days, David Young will help you. Nominated this morning by Matt Bigger, our content creator spotlight this morning. Wow, that was a good one. That's a good job, David. Good job in your success. We're going to create some content for you. You can share it across the network. Team, we are working towards wrapping it up here this morning. How's it going? Paul, but Matt, what do you got going on for the rest of the day here?
Calls.
Oh, yeah? What are you calling?
Zoom calls, client calls, networking calls. I get into about 15 to 20 conversations a week with people.
Good for you.
That's a good balance. I think I don't feel overwhelmed, but I think it's important. My approach to building a business is relationship development. So thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this.
Fantastic. And I'm going to tell you right now, Matt, since you've been in the lab, Keith and Nicole operate this way. I've gotten to Nicole quite well. I know that if I walked in Nicole's house, she's going to say, Keith, can I offer you something in the fridge or something in the pantry? And I'm going to say yes, and she's going to give it for me. And then she's going to say to me, Keith, now that you've been in my house and I've offered it to you, the next time you got to go get it yourself. Right? So it's the same thing here, man.
Yeah. We
welcomed you in. You want to come back to the lab, you have an announcement, you have a message you want to make, you come knock on Nicole's door, come knock on my door, you come in here any single time you want. All right?
Amazing.
You come network with our folks, you come put your message out there, you come have some coffee with us. If I could wake up with hundreds of people on the screen with a big conversation around the planet, that's making Uncle Keith happy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Paul Ryken, will you come back and join us again today on the next place in your journey, actually?
Ooh, that'd be fun to check in every once in a while.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Let's
still with my suitcase and my wife.
Yeah. So we officially have our traveling nomad, Paul Ryken and Sandra Ryken, are going to be our official check-ins from around the planet. So Paul, where will you join us next?
I'll probably do the UK. Let me get out of the Schengen area. Let me get out of Europe, and I'll go to the UK and see what it's like.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. I didn't get that. Where were you joining us from?
Sorry. Yeah. It was the leather pants, I think, that was getting you. They were a bit too tight for you. The UK.
Okay. Awesome. So we're going to bring Paul back from when he's in the UK. He's in Italy right now. And Nicole Bernard, what do you got going on for today? I'm going to come knock on your door today. It's just so you know, it's Wednesday. I find that on Wednesdays, they've become my midday weekend where I'm like, all right, I'm going to have a nap today. Actually, it's rest recovery day and I got a ton of work to do, but part of that work is having a nap.
Yes. Yeah, same. I actually don't have any meetings or calls today. So it's a lot of like working on the business today. So.
Yes, exactly. All right, we're going to get out of here. I try to be out here by 55 minutes so we can get back on the loop for the top of the hour. I have a guest coming up today at Live in the Lab at noon with Jean St. Pierre. I invite you guys to join me for that conversation. And then, of course, tomorrow morning, Keith and Nicole are back. Mornings in the Lab. I have not checked the guest profile yet to see who's coming. Matt, if you want to join for coffee, you're more than welcome to join. And Paul, I will see you in your suitcase around the planet. But Nation, we'll see you guys all later. Does that sound good?
Thank you guys for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you later.